Alright friends, hey, it's Jen from the She's Emboldened YouTube channel, and today we're talking all about to Santa or not to Santa. I was just going to make this an article that I wrote on the website, but turns out that y'all wanted to hear more on YouTube, so here we are. The main thing is, I'm not here to start any Santa wars. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want people to pick a side. I'm not trying to convince you to do what we do. But what I do want to do is have you think intentionally about how you celebrate Christmas this year and have you know why you're doing what you're doing. That's actually my heart behind everything we do, is helping all of us live more intentionally, help us to take steps each day that are leading us to where we want to go next week, next month, and a few years from now. So I've seen a ton of moms online asking and like polling moms and being like, what do y'all do for Santa? Like, do you do Santa? Do you not do Santa? If you don't do Santa, what do you do? All right, so let's talk about the positives of Santa. I think the two main ones I thought of are, it's fun. Like, and bringing fun is a good thing to your family. Kids are so fun, and it's so fun to do fun things as a family. And two, I've heard a lot of parents talk about how it feels like the only way to bring magic into Christmas and that kind of magic feeling where kids get excited is to tell them that Santa is real. Those are the two main things I thought of. Y'all have to let me know in the comments if you could think of any other positives as far as telling your kids that Santa is real. Here's some negatives that I thought about, potential negatives. And honestly, this isn't just from Santa. This could be a number of things. So I feel like we tend to be a little bit hard on Santa, but there are probably a lot of things that we could identify that could also have these same negatives. So materialism is one of them, just promoting materialism in kids. And you know that your kids do not need encouragement in materialism, because even when you do your best to cultivate generous hearts in your kids, and honestly in yourself, we are drawn towards materialism and wanting more and more. So Santa kind of facilitates that or encourages that kind of thinking. Santa also brings the focus on self. So you make your Christmas list, you're looking forward to what you'll get at Christmas time. There's not really a spirit of giving on the child or the family as far as Santa is concerned. It's all about receiving what I want for Christmas, making a list of what I want or what I think I need, and kind of focusing that all through December. My friend brought up something really interesting, and I think even if people do Santa, maybe not everyone emphasizes the naughty and nice list as other people, but what she said to me was the naughty and nice list is actually the antithesis or the opposite of the gospel, right? So the idea of this naughty and nice list with Santa is if you do good, you'll get good things. And if you do bad, then you will get bad things or you will get nothing. And the whole idea of the gospel is that we get a free gift that we don't deserve. We get the free gift of salvation because of what Jesus has done for us. And I had never thought about that before as a reason to maybe avoid introducing that mindset or that thinking into your kiddos. Okay, and then here were the two main ones for us. One, there are already so many distractions in daily life. Like, forget Christmas season. During the Christmas season, there's even more. There's events, like lots of fun. You bake cookies, you might go to a parade, you have Christmas parties, etc. And so Santa was going to be another thing that took our hearts and minds away from Jesus and being able to focus on him during the Christmas season. And in a minute, I'll talk about some of the things that we've done or what we do. I guess you don't even know what we do yet. So that was number one. Just minimizing distractions away from focusing on Jesus at Christmas time. Number two is I had a really hard time with the idea of lying to our kids. And it is lying. Like, we are not telling the truth. We're actually making up a very elaborate lie when we talk to our kids about how Santa comes down the chimney and he brings us gifts if you're good, and all these little details and these efforts that parents will go to convince their kids that Santa came to the house. And it's fun. Like, it's so fun. I grew up with Santa. My husband didn't. And so we kind of have both sides of the coin and we can bring our perspectives. But at the end of the day, you have to come to terms with, at some point I have to tell my kids I didn't tell them the truth. And for some kids, that might be a big deal. Now for me, and I'm talking from a Christian perspective, I I think one reason I didn't have a hard time, like some other people have voiced to me about, because my parents said Santa was real and he wasn't, I doubted if Jesus was real. I never had that, but I think I also have learned that I have the spiritual gift of faith. And so I never doubted Jesus as a child, like never. Now, whether I was obedient or not, that's a whole different deal. But for some kids, I think this is something to consider. If you have a kiddo who really struggles with faith, whether it's believing in you, believing in God, then I would strongly reconsider doing Santa in your household, because that might be a kiddo who says, I knew I couldn't trust them. Like, I knew I couldn't believe this. I had doubts about it and I was right. Now, the beauty of those kiddos are they're such good critical thinkers, right? Like, those are the people who are like, I'm not going to believe everything you tell me. And that is beautiful. And that's a wonderful quality. But I feel like those are the kids you really have to, and really we should commit to all our kids, to be honest with them. But I think it will do the most damage to the kids with those personalities when you tell them something is true and then later they find out it's not. Especially because most of the time, parents don't tell their kids Santa isn't real. They find out another way. So just something to think about. Okay, so if you haven't guessed it by now, we do not tell our kids that Santa is real in our house. We treat Santa like any character, like the Paw Patrol, Mickey Mouse, you name it. And they love like playing imaginatively about Santa. You know, we'll watch movies with Santa. We even went on the Polar Express this year. And so it feels like we can still have the fun of Santa, even though we're not telling them that he's real. So they know the presents are from us. If you do Santa or not, you're still going to have to struggle with teaching your kids to be generous and avoiding that materialistic heart. Because if there's any sort of present involved, whether it's Christmas, birthday, whatever, like, that's something you're going to have to battle in yourself and with your kids. So here are some things we try to do. So, and I think the thing is, you can still have tons of fun at Christmas time without saying Santa is real to your kids. My husband will say he didn't feel like he missed out on anything, not believing Santa was real as a child. He loved the time with his family. He loved opening presents Christmas morning. He loved playing with his siblings and eating the special pull apart cake on Christmas mornings. And so he's kind of a good example of like, no, like I loved Christmas, even though Santa wasn't a part of it. So here are some things we do instead. So we try to minimize the number of gifts to kind of battle as much as we can that materialism. And we also find a way to serve and give to others during this season. We also do a daily Advent activity. If I had one thing I was going to tell you as an adult or for your kids, if you want to keep your hearts and minds focused on Jesus, honestly, every day of the year, but even during Advent, do a small daily activity. So for us, we do the Jesse tree. I'll link all the information for that in the show notes. But basically, every day in December, it covers a prophecy or anywhere from the Old Testament to the New Testament, a place where the scripture refers to Jesus. And there's an ornament to go with it, and we hang it on the tree. And they love it. And it's just, it takes 5 minutes. We can do it in the morning at breakfast, or we can do it in the evening. And it's just this daily way of recalibrating our hearts to the Lord. Johnny and I do an Advent devotional, and that's something that's helpful for me. But my number one recommendation is to do a daily Advent activity if you want to stay focused on Jesus at Christmas. The other fun thing we do, it's a little different from Elf on the Shelf, and I have no qualms with Elf on the Shelf, although I don't want to put all the time and effort into thinking of ideas of things for the elf to do. But props to you if you do it. We got this thing, and I'll link it to, called Shepherd on the Search, and it's just a little stuffed shepherd, and it gives this narrative of the shepherd who went to see Jesus when he was born. And so again, it's just like another small nudge. We actually usually hide it, the kids find it, and then we do our Jesse tree devotional. And it's just another thing to nudge us towards Jesus, to recalibrate our hearts towards him and remind us about him during this season. So my goal for you at the end of this is maybe to reevaluate what you've been doing, to make intentional steps towards what you want your Christmas season to look like, and to just have a better grasp of, why am I doing what I'm doing? Are the decisions I'm making today leading me to where I want to go? And then overall, just helping you meet the goals of yourself and your family. Also, if you haven't subscribed, we'd love if you would do that. So make sure you hit the subscribe button before you leave.